Brian, of course, the president of Vidant Medical Center and chief operating officer for Vidant Health Hospitals, is here. We are so fortunate here in Eastern North Carolina to have the Heart Institute here at ECU and the Heart Center at Vidant. A lot of people may not realize, I mean, I've kind of watched this grow over the last 20 years and the kind of services we have in heart and stroke and all cardiovascular services. But we kind of get, you guys at Vidant kind of getting that done, aren't you?
Well, we're very proud of our team, and we're very proud of what's been built here. Vidant has certainly grown over the years, but it grows dealing with the needs of Eastern North Carolina. So we don't just decide to pursue a service in some way. What we do is watch the trends of what our people need in Eastern North Carolina. And so, as you know, cardiovascular disease is the leading cause of death among our people. So it's no surprise if you have a big medical center located in the middle of Eastern North Carolina with growing resources and teams and people with expertise, that in a region bereft with cardiovascular disease, that it would be a very large facility. And so I'm still amazed that in today's world where technology has evolved and we have so many options for people with advanced cardiovascular disease, that we still do more than 1,000 open heart surgeries a year here. And that is one of the largest programs in the nation. And so it just goes to speak, though, to the unprecedented disease rates we have in Eastern North Carolina for cardiovascular disease. And that's one of the reasons why Vidant not only has a large heart center, but partners with other organizations who are in this work to help us raise awareness and to help bring resources to the East that can help deal with this disease burden.
Brian Floyd, the president of Vidant Medical Center, here with us. Every time I pass by that facility out there, I remember when it was a field, and a lot of people aren't as old as I am and don't remember that. But I mean, the metamorphosis of that campus is incredible. And now you have the new cancer center.
That's right.
Right there next to the heart center, and you have the James and Connie Maynard Children's Hospital, which, by the way, is aesthetically very beautiful. If you pass by there at dusk, it's really an incrediable sight to see the kind of fluorescent blue out there. But give us an update on facilities. I mean, and how many employees total now at Vidant Medical?
So Vidant Health has a little over 13,000 employees, and we have on the campus here in Greenville somewhere in the order of 7,000 is about the average number of employees that we have dedicated to the Greenville campus. And so it's a lot of people. It's a very big team. We have over 1,000 physicians that are part of this work with us, obviously with our partnership with the Brody School of Medicine as well as our private practice physicians. So all told, there's anywhere from 7,000 to 8,000 people engaged in this work here in Greenville. And the campus does continue to grow. I keep thinking that we will eventually be able to decrease the size of our hospital a little bit. It's really unprecedented to have what is now almost a 1,000-bed hospital. We're at 974 beds. So right at a 1,000-bed hospital in a town that only has 80,000 people. That is an anomaly. That's not normal, and it's also challenging because it takes a lot of people to make that hospital work every day in such a small, and we draw from such a small number of people in Greenville. But it does continue to grow. Last year, we admitted nearly 46,000 patients to the hospital. We saw about 130,000 patients in the emergency facilities, so that is incredibly large, and that rivals what you'd see in a metropolis with several million people in it. So they come from all over Eastern North Carolina. I tell people that, truthfully, about 60 to 65% of the patients in that hospital on any given day are coming from outside of Pitt or Greene County. And so there truly is almost a tourism model in Eastern North Carolina where people come from as far as the Outer Banks all the way to Greenville. And so we have simply been delivering services for years that match what our communities need, and that's caused the growth that you've seen. We start with the original hospital, which was a Hill-Burton hospital, built from the Hill-Burton Act way back in the days when people thought these would be 100 to 150 bed, memorial hospital in a county like this. And of course, over the years, that has grown into such a large work. And we've been dedicated to trying every so many years, you'll notice there's an evolution of the organization, new facilities, new programs that we dedicate resource to, from the original hospital to trauma care, where this is the only level 1 trauma center east of I-95, transport systems so that we can bring patients, from around the east, and today with 5 helicopters and a fleet of ambulances stationed all around the East. We have a tremendous amount of mileage that we do every day to bring patients where they need to be and move them around our system. To, as you mentioned earlier, the Heart Center, again, pursuing the leading cause of death. Our Children's Hospital expansion, because we are the only comprehensive children's hospital in eastern North Carolina. And then more recently, as you mentioned earlier, with the development of our Cancer Center, which was really the first time we made a sizable investment and focus on developing out our services for cancer care in eastern North Carolina. And it's not just this great facility that is here, which is phenomenal, and we're very appreciative to Eddie and Joe Allison Smith and so many others who've dedicated their resources to help us build this cancer center. But it's part of a network across eastern North Carolina with other Vidant facilities that mirror this out in the region. And one of the more exciting things that we see is as Vidant Health is continuing to grow itself into a network of care around eastern North Carolina, is we're trying to bring that service close to home as well. And so you might see our tumor boards on a given day with physicians in a room doing virtual care consultations all across eastern North Carolina in real time, where patients don't have to delay and travel back and forth to see physicians. We make it happen in one visit, assign a care plan, and then render that care as much as we can close to home. And when not, they can come here to Greenville. So we're continuing to grow. I suspect in the next 2 to 3 years, we'll start the work of building out the 5th and 6th floor of that cancer center, which will add additional beds to the hospital. But my hope is it will allow us to close some of the older parts of the hospital that are the original Hill-Burton Hospital and move those beds up to the top of the 5th and 6th floor just for a nicer room for our patients and families.
Imagine the enormity of it all must get you from time to time. You guys don't flinch, I'll notice. I will say that. You. With all that you have kind of on your plate, it's pretty amazing, having to just staff the hospital with nurses and take care of all the things that you have to take care of. It's pretty amazing. Let's talk about other challenges. Your boss, Mike Waldron, the CEO of Vidant Health, was here recently, and he kind of took the gloves off with regard to this new proposed state health plan by the state treasurer. And in a nutshell, it made it sound as though that if it were to actually become reality the way that the state treasurer wants it to, that Vidant Health and healthcare in eastern North Carolina would take a healthy blow.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I mean, it is a change to the economy that we deal with here. I mean, we live in a part of the country that's not like urban areas where there are far more the economy is far stronger. We live in an economically suppressed part of the country. We're privileged to do this here. We're privileged to have all these resources that we do have, but we work hard to make that work when the resources are scarce in eastern North Carolina. And so because of the changes as they're proposed, this will have about a negative $40 million implications to Vidant Health, which are certainly substantial.
Yeah. Brian Floyd, the president of Vidant Medical Center. Let's talk about your commitment to the Greenville Heart Ball. The Greenville Heart Ball will be this coming Saturday night at the Greenville Hilton. And the folks from the Heart Ball came to you and said, we would like Vidant to take a bigger role in it. And you stepped up, and you guys are going to play a huge part this week.
Yeah, we're excited about the Heart Gala. It is a chance, obviously, for us to support American Heart Association, which also supports the work that we do here. But they've also agreed to use this event as a way to thank the teams that work here in our Heart and Cardiovascular Center here. So we think it's a great opportunity for us to come together, celebrate the work that team members do every day, taking care of some of the most complex cardiovascular disease you can find in the country. And they're going to help thank our team members. I suspect I'll have more than right at 100 team members who will be here,
Wow.
Physicians and staff from the Heart Institute.
That's awesome.
Who'll be attending the event. And so I really hope this is a time that we can all as a community come together and say thank you to those people who've dedicated their careers to taking care of patients with cardiovascular disease, and at the same time learn more about what we can do together to help alleviate this burden in eastern North Carolina.
You know, every time I meet somebody that works at the Heart Center, the surgeons, all the technicians, everybody involved, and luckily I haven't been in there as a patient yet. I hope I'm not. But people like Dr. Williams and of course Dr. Chitwood before him, and we just are so fortunate to have some of the top people in the world. It's
There's
amazing.
no doubt
It's
about
amazing.
that.
It's funny. My son was sitting at the bar at Outback one night, and he ran into this guy that he recognized from one of his favorite '80s movies. In fact, it was the principal from Ferris Bueller.
Yeah, I
And
remember.
And Hank said, he struck up a conversation. We said, "What are you doing here?" He says, "Well, my wife is here, and we wanted the top heart surgeon to do her heart surgery, and so we heard that we needed to come here."
Yeah, they came from Boca Raton.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I mean, so people from all over the country have come here for heart surgery, and it's
Well, all of our cardiovascular teams here are excellent, and I couldn't be more proud to be part of an organization that has assembled so many great people. One of the great things, not just the technology and the skill of our individuals, which is phenomenal, not just heart surgery, but all kinds of cardiovascular disease treatment. But we have incredible compassion here in Eastern North Carolina. It's just part of our DNA. It's who we are. We love people, and so we love to care for people. And so I say that one of the Vidant strengths is that we've assembled the people of Eastern North Carolina to take care of Eastern North Carolinians, because naturally we can teach the skill, but the compassion comes on its own. And we excel at being compassionate and loving on people in Eastern North Carolina. And that team's great. Can I tell you a story real quickly?
Sure.
So they called me a couple of weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, and said, "Hey, can you come out to the Heart Center on Sunday? We're going to have a wedding." And I said, "Sure." And you should know our team members do this from time to time. It's not uncommon. The nurses will get together. If someone says they're about to get married or want to get married and are stuck in the hospital, we may have a wedding. Things like this happen. And the nurses had a young lady who, she was a nurse herself, actually working at UNC, and she had come to us for her cardiovascular care. She has a tragic cardiovascular disease, cardiomyopathy, and was going to be having a major heart operation, wanted to get married. They made a wedding dress, and they had all the flowers and everything in the chapel. We have a beautiful chapel, and so it probably seats about 100 people. And I'd say it was 3/4 full when I got there. And I watched this young patient on a milrinone drip, which is very, very heavy cardiovascular disease or cardiovascular treatment, intravenous medication, walking down the aisle with 3 nurses behind her, making sure that she didn't fall. And they walked her down the aisle. We had a full wedding with our chaplains. Beautiful thing. And that stuff, I remember sitting down with the family, looking at them, who said we could have gone anywhere when we knew that she needed this kind of serious treatment. But looked at the wedding going on in front of them, and their statement was, "This is why we came to Vidant." And that's what we're all about here, and that's one reason why I'm so proud of that team.
Well, you should be, and I say it all the time, but we're so, we should never take for granted what we've got here with Vidant Medical Center and Vidant Health in Eastern North Carolina. It's unbelievable, and we appreciate all that you do. And we thank you for coming this morning. And thank you for being a big part of the Greenville Heart Gala also coming up on Saturday night.
Well, we're happy to do it. And the Burks and so many others who've been a big part of making this happen, we want to thank them as well as the many people from Eastern North Carolina who will show up and donate and help us have a great event Saturday.
Thank you, Brian. Good to see you.
Thank you.
Brian Floyd, the president of Vidant Medical Center, here with us this morning.